Hi, everybody. I'm Sheila, and this is Tammy, and we are doing the Joy of Herbs and
crystals.
Tammy's crystals.
Not my crystals.
They can be your crystals if you want them to be. Great. How are you doing this evening? Thanks for spending time with us on this wonderful Monday evening. We are very blessed to be with you, and we're blessed to be here. So, and again, my name's Sheila, and before I start talking about herbs, I thought I'd read something that was written by our teacher, who is Christopher Timms, and I'm going to read this to you, it's called The Eternal Teachings. There is an essence that binds and sustains and is all life. This essence, this living presence, is the oneness that you are. The oneness that you are. Shapeless, formless, and eternal are you, with no boundary, with no container. You were never born so that you can never die. This is the oneness that you are. This is the oneness that you are. With nothing to grow into, with nothing to become, for you are all life. You are all life. There is no separation between you and me, the air that we breathe, the sun that shines upon us, or the earth that we walk upon. No separation at all. All life is one, always has been, always will be. And this is the oneness that is the air and the earth. This is the oneness that is the seasons for the harvest and the laughter of the children. This is the oneness that you are. This is the oneness that you are. For this cannot be taught to you, for this cannot be understood. This can only be experienced, appreciated, and realized. Accept this and be free. Accept this and be free. Accept this, all of this, and be free. He wrote that. Let me see. He published this. I got my hands on this wonderful copy that was written back. This was published back in 2002. But I do love it, and I'm glad I was able to find it. So anyway, so one of the things I wanted to talk to you about this evening is, what are some of the reasons why we would look to other things to enhance our life? Maybe things we're not using now, or things we'd like to use a little bit more. And I think part of what we need to reflect upon is, especially on a day where you wake up and you're like, everything's bad. I don't like anything that's going on today. Even if it's the first 5 minutes, what can you do to make that a better day? So I always, of course, love the herbs. If you're going to cook something, put some fresh herbs in there. You can smell it. It makes you feel more alive. You can feel that greenery, and you can taste it in your food. And that's one way to kind of keep in the moment, to stay present. And I think for a lot of us that maybe get up and maybe we're upset because we're worried. Well, to experience a few things to keep you in the present may help you just get through this moment, so that next time, or in the next 5 minutes, maybe you won't feel that way. So perhaps it's when you get up, you get your coffee, you step outside, you go feel maybe the sun's just rising, you get to watch it for a minute, feel the sun on your fingertips, take your shoes off, go for a little walk on your grass or someplace nearby, maybe touch a few trees or plants or herbs, of course. And you may find that feeling that you woke up with has gone away because you forced yourself to be in the present. And that's hard for us to do. It's hard to not worry sometimes. But it's one of the things that I do like about plants, especially herbs, is I feel like they bring you more into the moment, so that you have to experience it. I mean, that's why we're here. That's why we're on the earth, is to experience what life has to offer, all the good and bad things, and I think that's very hard for a lot of people to remember that, because when you're not feeling well, or you're just maybe spiritually just feel like, ugh, or you just, mentally not in a good place, start thinking about some of those other things that can take you and keep you. Oddly enough, you don't want to escape this moment. You just want to make this moment maybe a little bit better. So anyway, what do you think about that, Cammie?
Yeah, I agree. It definitely is something to, always think about. We want to make sure that we are connecting with the earth and staying connected with our environment and where we are, because it's important, because this is something that we've chosen to be here, so we should really stay in tune to it, and whatever we can do to help us connect with that, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. So, but that was something that I wanted to talk about, because I think, it's easy to talk about things that are very pleasurable in life, and things that where your thoughts go to of, oh, I'd like to be there right now. But I think sometimes the smaller things, like you don't have to leave and go drive to the beach to have just this amazing moment. You could have it in your own surroundings. Just figure out a way to get there. And it doesn't necessarily mean money. It just can be something very simple, such as nature. Most of us can get away from where we live a little bit and get into some nature. And that is like the best healer for when you're feeling maybe not the best. So, and let me see. So, I'm sorry, I'm just taking a look at my notes here. So several herbs that I think are good for moods. Of course, mints. Mints are bright, right? I don't know if you've ever heard anybody describe mints that way, but mints themselves are bright, and I think they can make you feel better. They smell good. They wake you up, right? Peppermint can wake you up. Feeling a little stuffy, you can put some peppermint or eucalyptus, mixed into some lotion, maybe underneath the nose to open you up.
It's good for keeping mosquitoes away.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I was out to eat the other day with some friends, and they had put a mint leaf on the plate. And when the meal was done, somebody was handing out mints, going, "You want a mint?" And I said, "No, I have one." Because my mint is going to be better than one else's. But it's amazing how, like, people just look at it and they go, "Oh, a garnish." But if they recognize that it was mint, they'd probably be more likely to put it in their mouth at the end of the meal and go, "Oh, that's nice," right? That got rid of that food taste in my mouth. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, and some other, I think, herbs that can be, that help your mood, rosemary. Rosemary has been known to be, for strength. A lot of people used to, back in the day, they wanted to use rosemary to represent strength. There's a lot of different types of rosemary. Some smell more soapy, and some smell a little bit lighter, and some are more woody. So it's interesting, because most people go, rosemary, it's the same thing. You could probably, when you're cooking, get away with most of them, but
I don't know if I'd want soapy with my food.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. Some of them are closer. Like, some people describe lavender as being soapy. Some lavenders seem like, when you smell it, you go, oh, like that bar of soap that used to be in the bathroom, or something like that. Whereas other lavenders seem to be a little bit more, they're not so much that way. You get a little bit more flowery. So
it's also good for your hair and for memory.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, memory. See, if I forget something, I just need to.
So if you know somebody who needs to study for a test, have them burn some rosemary while they're studying, and I'll help them remember what they're studying.
That's pretty good. I would have liked to have known that when I was in school. Me too. It's been a long time ago, right? Instead of, here's some coffee. Can you open that door? It might be the cat. Sorry. We have fur babies. And no fur babies. Okay, what's that? So another interesting one is basil. A lot of people like to cook with basil. I think it's a great flavor. Basil is an herb that the Egyptians used to use as part of their mummification process. So they obviously thought that it was a pretty amazing herb to use in that process. probably revered it very much if they're going to go ahead and use it in the mummification process. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I know a lot of people use basil for cleaning too.
Yeah, see, that would be nice, right? Some basil, maybe in some vinegar or something like that. Or in that case, you might as well use mint too.
Oh, yeah.
Now, cats are not that crazy about mint. Or rosemary. They like catnip, but they're not too crazy about some of the stronger scents. So, if you think you're gonna freshen up maybe your bedroom with some lavender and you have some cats, that might not be the best idea. Maybe a little bit on yourself, but I wouldn't go around and spraying it around, because it's actually, lavender's not very good for cats. So definitely something I would stay away from. So
well, lavender's overdone anyways.
See, I love lavender.
I like lavender, but it's everywhere, so it just feels like a little bit much,
Yeah, that's true. 20 years ago,
what would you
about lavender.
What would you use in place of lavender? Because lavender is good for calming, so what would you use in place of it?
Well, see, I love gardenias. That's a flower. It's a white flower. Pretty common in Florida. See, she's just got jasmine.
Oh, jasmine, that's a good one.
Jasmine. I like jasmine. Jasmine would be cool. There's a plant. It's called a Confederate jasmine, and it has these little, very thin. It's like a 4-leaf, very, very thin, tiny flower like that. And it grows up. The jasmine will grow up like a vine, and you can smell that, you can pick that smell out a mile away once you recognize it, because it's so sweet. And I think the butterflies and other birds and stuff kind of like that. They'll swoop in there. So let me see what else we wanted to go over. So let's talk a little bit about some other things that people lump in with herbs, and they're not necessarily an herb, but I think they're interesting. Garlic is something that was used over 2,000 years ago. As a matter of fact, it was craved by the wandering Israelites. And they used to consider it a cousin to the onion. So an onion is round, and what was under they used tunicated is the word they used, but basically to me it's round and it has the layers in there, whereas the onion has the cloves, so it has these like little white clumps that go around. If you've ever seen it in the grocery store, but it's interesting how many of these things that we're like, oh yeah, I'm sure that was around before, like this herb or that herb. But when you really start to think about that, you are putting something maybe in your food, or you're planting it and you're using it to get the bugs away or whatever, that a lot of this is the same stuff that people 2,000 years ago used, and in different countries. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty amazing to think that. A lot of people talk about, well, I want to connect to my ancestors. Well, maybe you can start with some herbs, because a lot of them.
And isn't garlic good for your blood? It helps it not to clot and stuff, right?
Garlic's really good.
I heard that, and I also heard somebody added this to it, which I thought was funny. They say, because most people think vampires don't like garlic, bad. I think it's a conspiracy. They made it up. Vampires want you to eat garlic just so that they can get your blood better.
Fun. I suppose if you are in a crowd of people and you would like to be left alone, garlic might be an excellent or an excellent thing to go heavy on. Ooh.
If somebody hangs around you too much, it just might be a vampire. So
gotta watch out.
Think about it. Think about it.
Vampires. Fun. I know there's some people that eat garlic raw.
There are.
Yeah. No. And so we can talk a little bit more about onions too. Onions are interesting. So a couple hundred years ago, when somebody was sick, they would take an onion and slice it in half. I don't know, did I go over this story already? Maybe. Sorry, it might be a repeat. And they'd put it by their bed.
I remember my grandmother used to say that. It's an old folk tale, old folk wife lady type thing. They would put it by the bed to draw out the illness.
To draw out the illness, right? Because onions are known to attract bacteria. So you cut it open and you put it by the bed. It's supposed to help absorb that bacteria. Of course, if you go ahead and do that, I wouldn't eat it. I would make sure the next day after it's sitting by the bed that you actually toss it out. So onions do that effect, right? But onions are also have, like many other things in life, they have an opposite effect. So years ago they were, I don't know if you ever heard this, like you're at a picnic and if some of the food goes bad, which one is it, right? Everybody guesses mayo, right? And then other people would guess other things. It turns out that onions in food you have to be very careful about because it has the opposite effect if it's in food and it's not refrigerated.
Oh, it can make it go bad.
So apparently once onions are whole, they're fine as long as they're not rotting. But once you cut it open, then there's a timetable involved.
That's interesting to know.
Yeah. So apparently, if the big concern of, make sure you put, the potato salad away in the refrigerator while we're waiting. Well, if you know that there's some raw onions cut up in something, maybe you should consider that should go in there too. Yeah. So it seems to have a dual quality, which is what a lot of these herbs and plants do. A lot of plants and herbs have one piece of the plant that's poisonous and the other piece of the plant that's completely edible and a great healer. So it's kind of fun when you start to look at those different plants and go, okay, so which part can I eat? Which part can I not eat?
I know, like with elderberries like that.
Yes. Arsenic, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I knew a guy who used to make elderberry wine, and he forgot about that part. So he made some wine, and he was like, caveat, some of the maybe not so great part of the plant may have made it in there, and I was like, protecting him to pass. But that definitely is something interesting. But yeah, a lot of people, especially down south, will make elderberry wine.
Elderberry is really good for your health. It's really good for you to help you getting over being sick and stuff. But yeah, if you're going to use it, you want to make sure that you get just the berries at the right time, because otherwise it's not good for you.
And it's a very pretty plant too. It's all white and fluffy. And in Florida, there's another plant that looks like an elderberry, but it's not. It's bizarre. So sometimes it's good to take another look at, like if you're going to look at it in a book or something, to take a really good look and make sure that's really is elderberry, not something else that looks like it.
Belladonna is another one that I know most people are used to that one being poisonous, but it was used in the past in health remedies to help people in small doses. Yeah,
well, they figured that out with a lot of poisonous plants lately. I mean, look at what they're doing with Botox. And I'm not just talking about, obviously I've never had it, but oh, get away.
For people with migraines now too.
Right. So it's interesting. So, obviously you have something up until a certain point was considered just poisonous, stay away from it, blah, blah, blah. And now you're using it for medical purposes. And I think that I'm predicting that they're going to find more and more stuff, because life is about balance, and I'm getting the feeling from the lessons that I've learned that if you really look at it, you can find the positive and negative. I'm a Libra, by the way, if you can't tell, because I'm always looking, what's the positive, what's the negative. But yeah, a lot of plants are very cool like that. And so, with some plants, the different parts of the plant are definitely more edible than the other part. I mean, some of the other parts might be edible too, but you don't necessarily want to eat them. So anyway, okay. And let's go to, hang on 1 second. I have some more notes.
Now, I do always find it interesting to be thinking about, like, who's the first person to figure out what part of the plant was edible and what wasn't? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, who's the guinea pig?
Yeah,
I know that part.
It was like,
Oh, you want to get
it was good. Oh, no, I don't think that was good. Poor Bob, he just didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, that would not be good. Yes, as many things, right? You go over the bridge. Let's see.
No trolls, okay.
I'm brave. I'll do it. Anyway, so again, we're going to talk a little bit more, not just about the herbs, but staying in the moment. So again, back to the, what plants can do for you. One of the greatest things is to help you stay in the moment. Stay here. Hang out. Be with us. And that's hard for a lot of people. A lot of people go for other crutches because in life, many other crutches, because they don't realize that staying in the moment could be that great. And Joseph, I think, says it better than me. Thank you, Joseph. But we can talk about inner light, inner sound, inner presence. So I love Joseph's description. I should probably let you talk. Can we let him talk?
I don't know how that works. Sorry.
Sorry, we don't know how to have Joseph talk. But those moments of stillness that you can appreciate, to just to shake that mood. And if any of you work for a stressful job, or you're in a situation where maybe there's a lot of people around you and it's triggering you and that kind of stuff, to be able to find that stillness, not just outside with the herbs and stuff, because those are just tools, right? Just like everything else, but to go inside and think about the light that you are, and hear that sound, that quietness, that stillness. And maybe you hear the ringing in the ears, which is a good thing. And to just stay in here and experience that. Some people, it takes practice. I know for me, it definitely, there's moments where I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, some days it's easier than others to, get centered and do that. And some days you really want to, but everything else seems to get in the way, and you're just like, oh my God.
You've got to breathe through it. That's the other thing. When you stay in the moment, you just have to remember to breathe in and blow it all away, and just stay here. And then I think you'll feel pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jimmy, you want to tell us about?
No, you can keep going. If you got more to do,
okay.
I'm just.
I do. So, when you stay in the moment and you're not trying to escape it in some way, shape, or form, and for some people, they turn on media or they listen to music, and all those things are great. But at some point, those could be distractions from you maybe processing something that you should be processing, and you're not dealing with something that maybe it's a good idea to deal with it, but you haven't been because you've been procrastinating. Sometimes I think if we can just find that place in us that just goes quiet, and it doesn't take long. It could take 10, 15 seconds, just that quiet place. And it's almost like at that point, that's when you hear the opportunities come to you. It may be in the form of an idea. It may be in the form of somebody suddenly knocking on your door, or something that you read that you really hadn't had a chance to process, and you suddenly go, yeah, that's where I want to go. But if you can manage to take a few moments and still your mind and allow those opportunities to come in, then you're going to realize that you have more opportunities in this life of doing different things. And it could just be small things. Just, like, oh, maybe I should go for a walk. And then take that nice walk. And then take that time for yourself, if you're able to. If not, the quick, light sound, presence, to remind you of just where you are. And it's just been hitting me lately. I hear about people that are doing drugs, alcohol, in whatever shape, form it is, that they're not wanting to be here in the presence because they don't know how to do it, or they haven't found the joy of that stillness in themselves, like not knowing that all the answers that they're looking for are actually inside. And if they can just kind of go still for a moment, maybe it'll suddenly come to them and they'll realize it. Okay. Sorry, I feel like I'm preaching, so.
You're fine. You can say, keep going. If you have something else you want to talk about with the herbs, you've got time. You can still.
Yeah. So, something else I wanted to talk about, and of course, our teacher has talked about this umpteen times, but we are not our stories. So, you are not your job. You are not the clothes that you wear. You are not, the perfume you're wearing or the shoes on your feet. You are separate from that. And when you get to my age, and people start asking, well, one of the first things you want to ask you, well, what do you do for a living? And, I've always kind of gone, and I never quite understood why I was not that happy with being asked that question. And then I realized later it's because I didn't want to put a label on myself. I didn't want to put myself in a box, because I feel like there's a gazillion opportunities that could come my way as long as I don't put myself in the box. I'm very excited today.
No, it's not you. It's not you. It's not. I'm sorry.
That's right. She's like,
no. It's just been, it's like been a lot of it. So, no, it's not.
Yeah. And so, whatever you can, just try to remember that, whether you're the garbage man or, you work at Publix or whatever it is. I mean, those things don't really matter. We are not our jobs. And that's just something we chose to do. Or maybe we didn't choose to do it. We kind of felt like we were maybe had to do it because we had to earn money. But in some way, that was a choice. And, that includes things like your hobbies. Like, it's cool, right? What do you do for fun? I go fishing, or, I cook, or I'm a yoga master, or I'm, Reiki master, that kind of stuff. Yeah, those are just interesting aspects. I love the training boards. But those actually aren't us. That's just something that we chose that we like. So just remember that. So if you're not happy with that quote-unquote job label or those other things, just remember that's not you. You are not limited by that. You can get out there and do things and be open to those possibilities. And don't limit yourself. You're better than that. You don't need that. So, and I know that is hard for a lot of people because they feel like their job is their identity, and which is why they get so depressed if something happens to their job.
Mm-hmm.
They're suddenly laid off, or
they retire.
Or they retire, right?
People I've heard of who retired and be like, oh my God, I'm so bored. Oh, I got a job. And I'm like, I look at them strange. I'm like, are you okay? I was like, okay.
Right.
Those are people who don't know how to identify themselves in any other way.
Or don't know how to maybe take those moments to be still and to let those possibilities come and go, okay, I've tried that, but let me try something else. Something else I'd like to do, or maybe try something else just because it sounds hard and I just want to see if I can do it. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But that I like that. I met a number of people. So I'm in my 60s. I met a number of people that like when they were in their early 20s, they did something, and when they started their 40s, they did something something else, and then they started their 60s. They start just completely a third path, which I think is awesome. But I don't think that you should be limited by your age or by what you've done in the past. And unless it's some kind of paper requirement, as in a certificate or degree or whatever, I'm a big fan of just go ahead and try it. And I've been doing the same job for a very long time, but I think that's probably going to change soon. So that's one reason why I'm bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully,
talking herself into it.
I'm getting to the point where I go, I think in 3 years there'll probably be a change there. So, or less. But we'll see. And hopefully it'll be a good one.
It'll be a good one.
Yeah. So, let's see. I was just taking a look at my note that I wrote here. And I'm going to have you talk about your crystals for a few minutes. Let me take a look at this.
Okay, so you might come up with another topic.
Yep.
No problem.
Yep. I might just interrupt you.
That's fine too. It don't matter. I'm just gonna kind of wing it here because it was like I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to talk about on crystals, but I was, sitting there and I was thinking and I was trying to come up with a topic to talk about. And I was looking at the crystals I have. I have a lot of crystals. And, I was thinking about, the earth and like how much of the earth is has the minerals in it and the crystals and stuff and like where they come from. And it's like a good majority of everything is quartz based, and the crystals, and they just change depending on different minerals that are grow into them, like infused into them, usually through water. It's like, water seeps into the ground, into where the crystals are forming, and they're pulling the minerals through the different types of rock and sediment and stuff, and then it gets placed into the crystals as the crystals are growing, and this is what causes them to change colors and become something different. And all different kinds of minerals will make different crystals. And so, I was looking at them and like this crystal here, this one, this is a piece of quartz, a very interesting piece of quartz that I came across. I thought it was very cool looking, so I picked it up. And like I said, this is quartz. This is what most people, the earth rocks, igneous rocks and stuff, sedimentary, all have quartz in it, and usually in some form, if not like this. And quartz comes in a big variety, and it's found all over the planet. And then, like, I have this piece of quartz as well. This is, referred to as the Herkimer diamond, because it's a super clear piece of quartz found in Herkimer County, New York. That's why it gets its name, but it's because of its clarity and that the shapes that it forms is why they're called a diamond. And it's just this unique thing when you think about it and we look at it and we look about the variety of crystals that are out there and how amazing that they are. I
want to talk about this some more. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the price of crystals has gone up. They're starting to use crystals in more and more electronics.
Oh, yeah.
I think every phone has a piece of crystal in it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. Right. It has a piece of quartz in it. Quartz is very versatile and used in many things. Quartz is actually a very hard mineral, too. It's actually harder than steel.
So when you think about that, it's interesting because, when the Herkimer diamonds were first being sold, they weren't that expensive, and it seems like now the cost of a lot of those beautiful super clear crystals are going up, and it turns out it's because they're using them in manufacturing, but more and more. So,
well, not just in manufacturing, but because the quantity is getting less. I mean, those are called Herkimer diamonds because, like I said, they're found in Herkimer County, New York, and so as these places harvest them and mine them, they start to get depleted, and when they get depleted, then the price goes up because there's less of them. So that's usually what signifies it. And it's like there's a lot of crystals out there that are like that have only one place that they come from. And quartz is found all over. There are different types of quartz, but they're found all over the planet, which is very, which is, like I said, which is a base for a lot of other crystals that you look at. So, like this one here that I have, this one here is a quartz based, and you can see it has this yellow tinge to it, and the yellow is caused by minerals that have came into it during its growing process, and so now it's changed its slight makeup to it. So it's different, but it's still similar because it still has a lot of the same properties as quartz, but then it has other properties to it, and it makes it different. And sometimes those minerals will make stones harder or softer depending on how much is in there. So then
let me talk to you about this real quick. So, it's interesting because you think of a plant growing, because plants can grow pretty quickly, right? Depending on where you are, how much sunshine, water, elements in the soil, they can go pretty fast. But it's interesting to think this is growing too.
It's still growing, actually.
But it's still growing.
Yeah. Crystals technically still kind of grow after they come out. But I mean, this is like, this piece of quartz could be almost as old as the earth, because it's, that's where it comes from. It's been shaped in there, and it's been sitting in the earth for millions of years, and, getting formed and squeezed and pressed, and then, into what it is and what we find it. And then you also have ones like this. This is like a piece of a geode, and you can see there's some little sparkly, in there, quartz pieces. And that one as well, it makes it a little sparkly. It's probably harder to see in the camera. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see a little bit there. See how a little bit of sparkly is in it.
You call it a druzy?
Yeah, it's a full druzy, because it's really tiny, but that's quartz as well. This is also the quartz in that, right in there. And you can actually get those geodes like that in a lot of places. Crack them open and you'll find that in there. And it's very inexpensive, but it's very cool. A lot of people like it, and it's fun, and it's interesting. And then we have this one here, and this one has some sparkles to it as well. And this is natural green, So it's also fascinating. Is like this here has, some quartz in it, not as much compared to other ones, because this one has had built up with other stone, other materials.
Suzanne just sent us a note.
I got part of it, so that I'm going to give me a second here. Let me click on it the side here so I can see. Okay.
Suzanne says, I have some crystals that seem to have transmuted, different shapes and textures appearing internally. What is your take on this?
Yeah, the different shapes and stuff within there can be from people engaging with them after they've while they're pulling them out of the ground or in the ground and stuff. Just the ground shifting itself, they'll shift and they'll cause different things within there, and things will get trapped within the different crystals as well. And, because we connect with everything on the planet here, so we can have an effect on a lot of these things, and we can change them and shape them. So it's like they've been pulling them out, they can be, shifting the energies within the crystals themselves and making them look different than what they are. Unfortunately, in the crystal world, because they've become so popular, there are some out there that get a lot of names of things that, in geology terms, don't really exist. So you get on the touchy subject here with some of the things, because they'll call it something, and I'm not going to get into too much detail with that, but it's not really something that's actually seen in geology terms when it comes to relating to crystals. And it may be something that's more spiritual, metaphysical, but you need to understand the difference between the two when you're looking at them. So at least for me, I think that's very important, because, to know why a crystal is like a certain way, because it's interesting, because like this one here, a lot of people are familiar with this one. This is your pyrite, okay, or also referred to as your fool's gold. And it, it's very pretty. This one is more like smaller, roughed out piece, but this one shapes in the form of squares. It can come out looking like this, and it can come out in a square, like big, solid squares, which is, you're like, wow, square in nature. It's like, that's unusual, and it is. And that's what makes this so fascinating when you're looking at the crystals and you look at the different ones, and, the variety that we have in crystals, and the colors in the crystals, and these are all natural. These are all natural. Now, unfortunately, they are dyeing crystals and giving them fake colors, but there are beautiful natural colors in crystals as well that you can find, which is amazing.
Like this one, when it comes out of the ground, isn't it usually like a silver color?
No.
Or is it a gold color?
It is gold. That's why it's called fool's gold. Okay. Because they actually used to find this when they were mining for gold, and they thought it was gold, but it's not. When they tested it, it's not. It's a different minerals in it. It looks very similar to gold, very similar, but it is not, which is fascinating too. Think about it, that we have a mineral that we consider extremely valuable, that we put this high value upon it, and yet we have this other mineral that looks so much like it. But why is this one practically worthless compared to gold? It makes you wonder. It's a fascinating thing. It's like the way that we classify things, and we put value and stuff upon them, and it can be very similar to something else, but yet the one thing we think is more important than the other. Is it really? Or we're just making it all up.
I think we're making it all up.
It's for if we're making it all up, then shouldn't we start realizing that and accepting that, and make it so that everything shares the same value? That we stop making something more important than a different thing, and that it should be, all things should be important, no matter what they look like, where they come from, And if it looks similar to another one, but we know it's different, so what? It's like, it's so important. I mean, it's the crystals are fascinating and amazing, and it's like I love that. This is another one. This is a newer one I just got, and this is blue. Look at that beautiful purple color. That's natural. This is nature, forming these amazing, beautiful colors in these crystals.
What? Oh, that's something. Never mind. Sorry. I wanted to make sure it wasn't important. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it is interesting because, we talk about those things and those things that are growing, and including that crystal.
Yeah, look at this one. Look at that one. That one.
Rose quartz.
This is called rose quartz. Again, another quartz, but this one's mineral within it, making it pink, this shade of pink, which is fascinating.
And it's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And with all those being said, and the rules, right? So this one thing's valuable, this one thing is not, and this is trendy today, and this is not. Well, in the end of it all, you're playing the game, right? And if you're playing the game, sometimes the rules change. So that's the fascinating thing too. Like when I was a kid, if somebody would have said, "Hey, I've found a bunch of lithium," I don't think anybody would go, and poison, other than, is it poisonous? Do we care? Right? But now if somebody was to say, "Hey, I own this land and there's lots of lithium on it." Okay.
No, now you're a millionaire.
Now you have some interesting things you could do with your property.
Yeah.
So it is kind of fun to think that.
What can we use it for? What value have we given something?
Mm-hmm.
And this one is just so cool, fascinating. This another one that a newer one that I came across. Kind of looks like ice, doesn't it? When you look at it, look at that. I mean, the color of it. And again, this is natural, and this just came out of the earth that way. And there's all over the planet. We have all these amazing, fascinating crystals, and so many different shapes and colors and textures, and it makes you appreciate, what is out there that you can relate to, and like we're all connected to it. We know that we can feel those things when we connect with these crystals, and it's like we should be thinking about our world that way. And it's like if we are fascinated and find these things amazing, in these stones and everywhere, we should be looking at it the same idea of like how beautiful and amazing and fascinating everything is around us, everyone who's around us, who are these amazing, beautiful, interesting, living things that just, will bring so much more to our world, to our lives, to our experience that we are having here. And I think crystals are a great way to think about it, and connect with those broader ideas by thinking about how fascinated crystals are, or maybe herbs, or maybe something else that you're looking at. It's like there's such variety and diversity out there, and it's something to really contemplate.
And not be afraid of. Like, it could be right there in the yard. It could be outside it could be outside your apartment complex, right? Just taking a brief walk and you see something kind of colorful on the ground or a cool plant. Go check it out. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to touch it. Some plants you shouldn't touch. But it is kind of cool to realize that a lot of these fascinating things are around you in your life. And it's cool when you start looking, because often when you start looking and you throw it out there, it'll come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're looking for, you end up finding. So, but definitely, I think it's pretty cool. And we're both pretty passionate about, she's very passionate about crystals. I love crystals too. And I'm very passionate about plants and herbs and stuff.
I like herbs too, and I might know a little bit about them and stuff, but
it's, some of the best chefs have herbs. So let's be real. I mean, what separates the great cook from the average cook? And it's probably because somebody has some fresh herbs in their kitchen.
Well, the variety is the spice of life, and it's a very true statement. And it's like, it is really the thing to keep in our lives, to keep interesting, is to keep, keep that variety. We want the variety. Variety is what makes life. It's like, if we don't have variety, if we keep trying to make everybody the same, everything the same,
we get bored.
It's boring. Life is boring and uninteresting. And it's like, variety is what we want. We want variety. We want interest. We want to explore and just, embrace everything and just, go with it.
Yep, I agree. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. Do we have a way of getting questions, or we don't?
Well, just them typing on the side if they have a question.
Did anybody have any input? I know something that Suzanne said is...
We already read that.
Oh, yeah. About stones change. Well, I can tell you, I do think it's possible to actually take a stone and change it with your own energy. I've seen a couple of people do that with fluorite. Fluorite's a crystal, and it's got like striped purple and green, and what would you say, sometimes a tiny bit of blue?
It is. Fluorite comes in blue, green, pink, orange, just about almost a lot of colors. Fluorite is very multicolored, translucent crystal.
Mm-hmm.
It's very beautiful.
And it can... the sun can damage it, but I've also seen people play with it and actually manipulate the color. Usually they end up taking the color out, but here we go. What are some good ways of using mullein for lungs? I think I've only heard of it in a tea. I know some people at the beginning of July will put it around their trees, but that's for a different reason. Let me see what we got here. Oh no, we had a great deal of wildfire smoke here where you live. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. I would think in a tea.
Yeah,
that's the only way I've ever had it, was in a tea.
Mm-hmm. What is would it be okay if you put it like on a cloth or something and was like to smell it?
Yeah, the medicine man used to have, what they used to do is they made like a beak almost with the sack, and they would put herbs in it. So that would be an option. I don't know enough about it. A tincture. Yeah, tinctures do take some time. They do. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Probably the quickest way would be a tea, and that would probably help, keep clear your lungs, congestion and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the guys that wore that whole thing with the herbs and stuff in it, they really helped keep themselves. Yeah, I mean the flowers did a great job, and the herbs did a great job of filtering out a lot of that.
If you wanted to do a tincture faster, they do have, I know not everybody can have those machines, but they do have those machines there that like do the food, that press the food fat. I can't think of the name of it now.
Like a food press?
It's not a food press. It's like a vacuum thing, and it's like, and it like, I can't think of the name of it. I just lost the name of it. I'm sorry. I watch a lot of those cooking shows, and I've seen them on those shows, and it's like they put it in the machine, and they put the stuff in there, and it like infuses it quickly.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Expensive.
I don't know. I've never looked at finding one. I'm not a cook, but I've seen them on the shows, and I was just thinking that would be like a quick way to make a tincture type of thing if you needed something. I mean, if you knew somebody who had one, hey, maybe you'd be able to find one inexpensively somewhere, you know? But I can't think of the name of it. Sorry.
Yeah, so I was just looking at this tea that I have. I'm going to cover the name of the brand, but it's an energy tea, and it's got orange peel, hibiscus, rose hips, and ginseng, and it's caffeine free. So what I like about a tea like this is hibiscus is actually antibacterial, and the hibiscus, so here in Florida they'll pull the flat red flowers. It's a particular type of hibiscus, and it's got red flowers, and they will take those off and they will dry them, but not like to a point where they're a tea. You know how tea can be like almost brittle? No, they'll just kind of semi-dry them out, and then you put that, and you can use that as a tea, and it's absolutely amazing. And that's one reason why when I saw this, I was like, oh, I'm going to cheat. And ginseng, of course, is good for your health. I think it's antibacterial, isn't it, ginseng? I know it can ward off illness. I know that's something that a lot of people will use. But yeah, I don't know enough about the mullein other than what I saw somebody use it for. But yeah, okay. So the tea is what you've been doing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tea is awesome. Obviously,
she likes tea a lot.
Tea a lot. It's so bizarre. I think it's cool. You ever been to a plant show and they have like if you have a chance, go to a plant show. It's just fascinating. And sometimes they'll sell like a bonsai coffee plant. And you'll see the coffee beans right off of there. Now the problem with the bonsai is because they've shrunk everything and they've used just a few of the root strands, that if the plant itself does like a heavy duty thing, like for instance a peach tree producing peaches, that crop could wipe out the whole plant. So that's the hard thing about bonsais.
Yeah.
How to be careful about what you're harvesting and not let it go to a full thing, because it could take the whole life out of the plant. What was I talking about? So anyway, you can go into some of these plant sales, and you'll see some wild stuff. And I have seen varieties of tea in small plants too. And it took everything I had not to go buy. So I was like, oh, I want to plant that. But I was like, okay, so the area I have to work with is only so big. But yeah, that's really cool. That would be fun. I haven't done that yet. So anyway, all right, I think we're gonna wrap it up. I hope that
I hope you found this
interesting. Let's send the energy over there to BC.
Good energy. Wildfires dying down, and
just bring some rain and put them out, and send out good energy to you guys. Anyway, it was really cool being here, and until next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Everybody have a good night.
Recorder.
I'm trying to.